The way we perceive age is one of the biggest limitations people impose on themselves. Most people have been conditioned to believe that age determines what is possible for them, whether it's too early or too late to pursue their dreams. But the truth is, age is nothing more than a story that society tells us, a story we hear from those around us, and most importantly, a story we tell ourselves. And just like any story, it can be rewritten. Think about the excuses people make based on age. Some believe they're too young to start a business, to be taken seriously, or to lead others. They tell themselves that experience is a prerequisite for success, that they need more time, more credentials, or someone else's permission before they take action. On the other hand, some believe they are too old to make a career change, to chase their passions, to get in the best shape of their lives, or to create the relationships they truly desire. They convince themselves that their time has passed, that opportunities are behind them, and that life is about accepting what is rather than creating what could be. But here's the reality. Age only holds power over you if you let it. There are people in their 20s who act as if their whole lives are set in stone, playing it safe because they fear making mistakes. And there are people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond who are just getting started, proving every day that the best moments of life are still ahead. The difference isn't age, it's mindset. Those who believe they are limited by their years live small. Those who refuse to be defined by a number live with passion, purpose, and unlimited potential. Consider some of the most extraordinary people in history. Colonel Sanders didn't start KFC until he was 65. Ray Kroc turned McDonald's into a global empire in his 50s. Nelson Mandela became president of South Africa at 75. On the other end of the spectrum, Steve Jobs co-founded Apple at 21. Mark Zuckerberg launched Facebook at 19. Success is never about age. It's about vision, determination, and action. The people who accomplish great things don't wait for permission. They don't let a birth date dictate their worth or potential. They see time as an asset, not a limitation. And they understand that the only thing truly stopping them is the belief that something is stopping them. If you change that belief, everything changes. But why do so many people let age define them? Because they've been told to. Society has built a timeline of what's appropriate at each stage of life. When you should finish school, when you should have a career, when you should get married, when you should retire. And if you fall outside of those expectations, people will tell you that you're either rushing too fast or moving too late. But if you look at the most successful, fulfilled, and unstoppable people, you'll notice they don't follow that script. They create their own. They don't let numbers control them. They control their numbers. The biggest mistake people make is assuming that because they haven't done something yet, it means they never will, but the past does not define the future unless you allow it to. If you've spent years believing you are too young or too old for something, that belief has kept you stuck, not your age. The moment you let go of that story, new opportunities open up. Because when you stop thinking about what you should or shouldn't be doing based on how many years you've lived, you start asking a more powerful question: what do I truly want? Imagine if you removed age from the equation entirely. Imagine if there was no timeline, no restrictions, no societal expectations, only your potential. What would you do? Who would you become? What risks would you take? That's the mindset of people who break boundaries and redefine what's possible. They don't ask if they're too young or too old. They ask if they're committed. And commitment is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who simply exist. The people who let age control them are the ones who hesitate, who talk themselves out of opportunities, who play it safe because they fear judgment. But the people who realize that age is just a number are the ones who take bold action, who reinvent themselves when necessary, who prove time and time again that the best is yet to come. If you want to break free from the limitations of age, you must first recognize that they are self-imposed. No one can tell you what you are or aren't capable of. Only you decide that. The next step is to surround yourself with people who defy expectations. Spend time with those who are living proof that success, passion, and fulfillment have no expiration date. Learn from those who took action despite the doubts of others, and you will start to see what's possible for yourself. And finally, you must take action. The greatest way to destroy a limiting belief is to prove it wrong. If you think you're too old to start a business, take the first step and see how much progress you can make. If you think you're too young to be a leader, start leading in small ways and build from there. Once you experience firsthand that age is irrelevant, the belief will lose its power over you. Because at the end of the day, what truly matters is not how many years you have lived, but what you do with the time you have. The people who refuse to let age define them are the ones who create lives of passion, success, and meaning. And the moment you decide to rewrite your story, you open the door to a future where anything is possible. Life is a constant journey of growth and reinvention. The problem is that too many people believe that at a certain point, change is no longer possible. They convince themselves that they are too old to start over, too late to pursue their dreams, or that their best years are behind them. But the truth is, transformation has no deadline. Reinventing yourself is not just possible, it's necessary if you want to live a life of fulfillment, success, and purpose. The biggest lie people tell themselves is that they are stuck. They look at where they are in life and assume that their current situation is permanent. But nothing in life is permanent unless you choose to accept it as such. The job you've been in for years, the habits you've formed, the beliefs you've carried, none of these define you unless you let them. If you are not happy with where you are, you can change. If you feel like you are not living up to your potential, you can shift. If you want more for your life, you can create it. The only thing stopping you is the belief that you can't. Look at some of the most successful, impactful people in history, and you'll notice a pattern. They didn't limit themselves to just one version of their lives. They reinvented themselves, sometimes multiple times, proving that transformation is not reserved for the young, but for the willing. Vera Wang was a figure skater and journalist before she became a world-renowned fashion designer in her 40s. Samuel L. Jackson didn't land his breakout role until he was 46. Julia Child didn't publish her first cookbook until she was 50. The list goes on. What do all of these people have in common? They refused to accept the idea that it was too late. They understood that growth doesn't stop because of age. It only stops when you stop pushing yourself. The key to reinvention is to shift your mindset from seeing change as a risk to seeing it as a necessity. Most people resist change because they fear the unknown. They have spent years building an identity, a career, or a routine, and the idea of starting fresh seems overwhelming. But what's more terrifying, stepping into something new or spending the rest of your life knowing you never tried? Fear will always be present, but the most successful people are those who take action despite it. They understand that uncertainty is not something to run from, it's something to embrace. One of the greatest mistakes people make is assuming that growth is only for the young. They believe that learning new skills, pursuing new passions, or taking on new challenges is something meant for those in their 20s or 30s. But learning and growth are lifelong processes. The moment you stop challenging yourself, you start declining. The brain, like any muscle, needs to be exercised. The more you stretch yourself, the sharper you become. This is why some of the most vibrant, energetic people you will ever meet are those who never stop evolving. They keep learning, keep pushing their limits, and refuse to settle. If you want to reinvent yourself, the first step is to let go of the limiting beliefs that have been holding you back. Stop telling yourself that it's too late. Stop thinking that you've missed your chance. The reality is, the only thing stopping you from making a change is the decision to do so. The second step is to take action. Reinvention doesn't happen overnight. It happens through consistent effort. Start small if you need to. Take a class, develop a new habit, reach out to a mentor, or start exploring a passion you've always had but never pursued. Every small action builds momentum, and before you know it, you are no longer the person you were meant to become. Surrounding yourself with the right people is also crucial. If you are constantly around people who reinforce the belief that you are too old to change, that belief will take root. But if you spend time with those who are constantly growing, evolving, and challenging themselves, their energy will push you forward. Find mentors, read books, and immerse yourself in an environment that encourages reinvention rather than discourages it. Another powerful strategy is to focus on progress, not perfection. Many people never start because they feel like they need to have it all figured out before they take the first step. But no one has it all figured out. The most successful people don't wait until they feel ready. They take action and figure it out along the way. They make mistakes, they learn, and they adjust. That's the process of growth. That's how reinvention happens. At the end of the day, the question is not whether you can reinvent yourself, it's whether you will. Will you allow yourself to evolve, to grow, and to step into a new version of yourself, or will you let fear, doubt, and outdated beliefs hold you back? The choice is always yours, and the moment you decide to embrace change, you will realize that life is not about what you have been, but about who you are becoming.
When people think about success, they often focus on external factors, qualifications, opportunities, experience. But in reality, the most important factor in achieving success is not any of these things. It's not how much knowledge you have, how many years you've worked in a field, or even how talented you are. The true foundation of success is energy and passion. The level of energy you bring to your life, the passion that fuels your actions, and the hunger that drives you forward will always matter more than the number of years you have lived. Look at any person who has achieved extraordinary things, and you will see one common thread: unstoppable energy. This isn't just physical energy, it's a mindset, a force that propels them forward no matter what obstacles they face. They are not waiting for permission to act, and they are not held back by doubts about whether they are too young or too old. They have a vision, they are on fire with purpose, and they refuse to let anything slow them down. Most people don't struggle because they lack knowledge or skills. They struggle because they lack the energy and drive to consistently take action. They allow themselves to feel tired, unmotivated, or stuck in routines that drain them. They listen to voices, whether internal or external, that tell them they should slow down, that they should accept their current reality, that they don't have what it takes. And slowly they stop pushing themselves and their dreams fade into the background. But the truth is, energy is something you can generate, passion is something you can ignite, and when you do, age becomes irrelevant. Some of the most vibrant, successful people in the world are those who have mastered the ability to create their own energy. They don't wait for the perfect conditions, for motivation to magically appear, or for someone to tell them it's their time. They take control of their state. They move their bodies. They fuel their minds with empowering thoughts, and they surround themselves with people who inspire them rather than drain them. They understand that energy is a decision, not a coincidence. Think about the times in your life when you were the most excited, the most driven, the most unstoppable. It wasn't because of your age. It was because of your mindset. When you are deeply passionate about something, you don't count the hours. You don't worry about whether you are too old or too young. You are fully immersed in the moment, pushing forward with a sense of purpose that overrides any doubts or fears. Now imagine if you could tap into that energy every single day. Imagine waking up with the kind of passion that makes you jump out of bed, ready to take on whatever challenges come your way. Imagine refusing to let a number define what is possible for you and instead deciding that your potential is limitless. That is the kind of mindset that separates those who create extraordinary lives from those who simply go through the motion. One of the greatest myths about aging is that energy naturally declines over time. But look at people who continue to thrive well into their later years. Athletes who still compete, entrepreneurs who keep building businesses, artists who create masterpieces. These are people who have refused to let their age dictate their level of vitality. The key difference between them and those who slow down is not genetics, luck, or circumstances. It's the habits they have built. They take care of their bodies. They train their minds to focus on possibility rather than limitation. And they stay engaged with life in a way that keeps their passion alive. On the other hand, There are people in their 20s and 30s who act like they have already run out of energy. They drag themselves through their days, they complain about feeling exhausted, and they settle for routines that drain them rather than fuel them. Why? Because they have not made the decision to cultivate energy and passion. It's not about age, it's about choice. If you want to achieve anything significant in life, you must learn to generate energy on demand. You must take control of your body, your thoughts, and your emotions in a way that fuels you rather than depletes you. This means taking care of your physical health, moving your body, eating foods that give you energy rather than robbing you of it, and prioritizing rest and recovery so you can perform at your best. It means managing your mental state, feeding your mind with empowering thoughts, eliminating negative self-talk, and surrounding yourself with people who uplift you. And most importantly, it means reconnecting with your passion, reminding yourself every single day why you are doing what you do, what excites you, and what impact you want to make. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how many years you have lived, it's about how much life you bring into those years. The people who refuse to let age define their potential are the ones who show up every day with energy, passion, and an unstoppable drive to keep growing, creating, and pushing forward. And the moment you make that decision, you will realize that success has nothing to do with age, it has everything to do with the fire inside of you. When people talk about potential, they often attach it to certain milestones in life. They say success is for the young, that innovation belongs to a certain generation, or that reinvention has an expiration date. But the truth is, the only limits on your potential are the ones you accept. Your age, whether young or old, is not what determines what you can achieve. Your mindset does. The way you see yourself, the way you approach challenges, and the way you decide to show up every day are what truly define the life you create. The reason so many people feel stuck is not because of their age, but because of the stories they tell themselves. They say, I'm too young to be taken seriously, or I'm too old to start over. These beliefs become self-fulfilling. When you convince yourself that something is impossible, you don't even try. And when you don't try, of course, you don't get results. But the most successful people in the world, those who achieve extraordinary things at every stage of life, understand that potential is not something you lose. It is something you either nurture or neglect. Think about it. Every day you make choices that either expand or shrink your potential. If you choose growth, if you keep learning, taking action, and challenging yourself, you become more, you achieve more, and you open new doors of opportunity. But if you let fear, doubt, or external opinions dictate what you can or can't do, you will find yourself stuck in a life that is smaller than the one you are capable of living. One of the greatest misconceptions about success is that it is determined by external factors, luck, timing, talent, or even connection. But look at the most successful people across different industries, different ages, and different backgrounds, and you will see one common factor. They refused to accept limitations. They took ownership of their potential, regardless of the circumstances. At 65, Colonel Sanders took his secret fried chicken recipe and built one of the most successful franchises in the world. At 50, Ray Kroc took over a small burger joint and turned it into McDonald's. On the other end of the spectrum, a teenage Steve Jobs was starting Apple in his garage while other kids his age were still figuring out what to do with their lives. These people didn't let their age define them, they let their vision and determination do that. The moment you stop believing that age is a barrier, you will start to see opportunities everywhere. You will realize that everything you have experienced, every success, every failure, every challenge, has been preparing you for what's next. Life doesn't get worse as you get older. It gets richer, fuller, and more meaningful if you choose to keep growing. But that's the key. You have to choose growth. Potential isn't something that is given to you, it's something you cultivate through action. If you want to maximize your potential at any age, you must be willing to step outside your comfort zone. Growth does not happen by staying where you are, doing what you've always done. It happens when you push yourself, when you take on new challenges, when you risk failure because you believe in the possibility of something greater. This means making learning a lifelong commitment. Too many people stop learning once they finish school or once they reach a certain level in their career. But the most successful people never stop learning. They read, they study, they surround themselves with people who inspire them. They understand that the more they grow, the more they can achieve. It also means refusing to let setbacks define you. Just because something didn't work out in the past doesn't mean it won't work in the future. Every failure carries a lesson, and every lesson brings you one step closer to success. The only real failure is allowing yourself to stop trying, and most importantly, it means shifting your identity. Stop identifying yourself by your age, your past, or what other people expect of you. Instead, start identifying yourself by your vision, your passion, and your commitment to growth. You are not defined by the years you have lived. You are defined by the life you create with the years you have left. If you want to see what's possible, start looking at your potential, not your limitations. The moment you do that, you will realize that the best time to take action is now. The best time to grow is now. The best time to become the person you were meant to be is now, because in the end, success is not about age. It's about what you decide to do with the time you have.